What's up guys? Welcome to another YouTube video. Today we'll be doing the BookTube Newbie Tag. I'm 19 years old. I live in London and I'm doing YouTube videos for BookTube, and we'll dab in other areas of YouTube as well, maybe, we'll see. I am a student and a part-time waitress at a pub. Part of London life, I guess. Fun, unique things that I will be bringing to YouTube, or BookTube to be very specific. I have no clue. I will just be giving my opinion and receiving my other people's opinion through the comments or through texts, DMs, whatever. Details. I will be bringing another perspective, which is just adding more to it. That's about it. Some books that you may have never heard of, which is recommendations, book recommendations, different authors from different countries who are writing in English. What am I most excited for about this new channel? I am very excited to join the BookTube community, mainly because there are so many YouTubers that I grew up watching that were part of YouTube and that made a massive difference in my life, and I'm hoping to give that same perspective to some of you guys. Another reason why I'm so excited about this is, one, I get to speak to people about books. Like, who doesn't like that? If you get to speak to someone about your hobby, your favorite hobby, then it's exciting because I will get more perspectives on things that I have read, or maybe things that I've read and haven't picked up on, like in some books. Another perspective is coming from you guys. I think I've repeated myself. And that's about it. And book recommendations from you, which is so exciting. I'm very excited about that. Why do I love reading? Why do you love reading, Erica? I love reading because it takes me to another world. For someone who lives in East London, has always lived in a community, you want an escape, usually. And my escape is books. Some people have other escapes, like cycling to other places in their city or in their area. I don't. I sit at home and read, or in a train, or everywhere else. It's great, especially if you're on the Central Line and it's really loud and you just want to get out of it, or it's too many people around you pre-COVID. You just want to get out of it. So, but best way than to grab a book and get immersed in this world. I absolutely love reading. That's how, more or less, how I got into reading as much. How I skimmed through so many books was through reading on trains, reading on other platforms, quite literally platforms. What book series got me into reading? It wasn't a book series that got me into reading, it was a single book. I will put it up here if I manage to learn how to do that on iMovie. The book that got me into reading was Sisters Red by Jackson Pierce. Okay, I haven't read this in a few many years, so it has been a long time. This book is a Little Red Riding Hood retelling, and it's wonderful from what I remember. It's really good. It includes a love triangle, wolves, or Fenris. In this case it's Fenris, but they're werewolves. A very large scar on a person. A very interesting plot line, so I would highly recommend it. I'd read you the blurb, but I'm not very good at doing that, as you saw in my last video, so I will just leave it at that. It's a very good book. It's quite old. It's not one of the new releases. 2010. It is a wonderful book. It is about two sisters who have lived a very rough life. They hunt werewolves, or in this case Fenris, and it's a joy to read. It's about 300 pages, and it's what got me into reading. My cousin got me into reading, and it was very fun. I really enjoyed that book. I think, would you ask your favorite YouTubers? Oh my god, I would ask some really obvious questions, like why did you do it? Why did you start YouTube? And how on earth did I get so engrossed into your videos that I have started my own? What brought this along? It's so good. I would love to sit down with some of my favorite YouTubers. I'll put some names on the screen, links down below. Some of my favorite booktubers that have absolutely changed my way of reading and what books I read. And I would sit down with them, drink a cup of coffee in a coffee shop in a world where COVID doesn't exist, and I would ask them a million questions and have wonderful conversations and book recommendations and literature tips. It'd be wonderful. It'd be a wonderful place to live. The questions that I've put down are: how do you read so much? Time? Like, honestly, how? There are only so many hours in a day, and I cannot read half as much as most of these girls on YouTube can read. Taking into account I do follow mostly girls. And were you ever embarrassed of reading so much? Because I remember in school, when I was ever reading a book, people would come up to me and be like, what are you doing? Like, who reads? What's wrong with you? And that's also one of the reasons why I was so taken in by this community, like so many other people in the world, I'm guessing, as well, because it does make a difference when you live in an area or you don't have really many friends that love books as much as you do. Fortunately, my two best friends did enjoy reading quite a lot. One of them still reads quite a lot, the girl reads manga. If she's watching this video, she knows I'm talking about her. But I was lucky enough to share some of my favourite books with them throughout my years growing up. Like, one of my favourite one of my favourite series was the Vampire Academy series, and that's a whole other video. That's coming, by the way. But yeah, it was a whole other series that I thoroughly enjoyed, and we shared that in common. So if that's how I felt with my two closest friends, imagine how it feels to be online and share that and have so many hundreds and thousands of people also follow that. So were you not embarrassed? How were you so brave to do it in an area and in a time when no one else was doing it? That's the question. Next question: what challenges will be hardest with BookTube? What challenges will be hardest with BookTube? What challenges will be hardest with BookTube? Do not let other people's different opinions, get to me. That is the hardest part, I think, will be. If I do make a following, and if I do end up coming across other people's opinions, even if it's just reading or watching other people's book videos, one of my fears is that I'll be so engrossed by their opinions that I'll forget my own. So don't let other people's opinions consume you. When did you start reading? I started reading, I think I read Sisters Red in 2010 when it came out, I think it was. But yeah, I remember it was a hardback, and by the end of my cousin reading it and me reading it, it was absolutely destroyed. And then another close friend of mine also read the same copy, and all the frailed edges were just naturally frailed from us reading them, so it was very well loved, deeply loved book for us. So yeah, I think age of 9-10 was when I started picking up books more. By the age of 13 I was absolutely obsessed with Twilight, not Twilight as much, the first two books of Twilight I was quite obsessed over, but Twilight, Vampire Academy, anything werewolves and vampires. Glass Houses by Rachel Kane, that was one of the other books that really got me into reading. I zapped through the first 3 books. I read them all in a week, and I was obsessed. I think it's because of the vampires and the mythical creatures in it. Definitely mythical creatures do bring much joy to my life. Where do I read? I read everywhere. I read before bed, which is quite relaxing, to be completely honest, when I don't get completely consumed by the book and then end up reading till 4 AM, sleep for 3 hours, and then get up to go to college, which is the case many other times. When I was doing long train journeys, I read on the train, because I would go on peak times on the Central line to get to college, and that would quite tight space in the Central line, if any of you guys know, towards Liverpool area. That is claustrophobic, if you're claustrophobic, 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning is the worst time to go on the Central Line. Why? Because there's so many people. But yeah, that's when I loved reading the most. I would be in a little corner because I'm quite short. I'm 5'2", 5'1" and a bit. I would sit in a corner like tucked in and just read my novel, and that would be my space, and it would take me away. That was one of my favorite places to read because the train journey just goes by super fast. I do enjoy reading in the park, coffee shops, any place with white noise. I do enjoy reading quite a lot, but my favorite place is definitely trains and buses. What kind of books do I like to read? I like to read fantasy novels, as expected. I quite adore the Throne of Glass series, the Court of Thorns and Roses, Shadow and Bone, A Dark Shade of Magic. I love them. I'm still going through them, but I love them. I love a good adventure, fantasy, romance, and a little bit of spiciness. Who doesn't like a little bit of spicy? Yeah. That is it. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have the rest of a wonderful day or night, wherever you are in the world. And I post a new video every Friday. I'm going to try to keep that up, but I can't promise. I'm new to this. And the editing, I'm still getting my head around on how to edit these videos. I'll get there. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a rest of a wonderful day. Bye!